The following Earth Angel Media presentation is brought to you commercial-free as a gratuity from the sponsor producer named after the show. Please consider their message. Find other high-value shows listed at earthangelproject.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Leadership on Purpose, the podcast series. I'm your host, Catherine, and this is where we shatter the status quo and dive deep into the raw, unfiltered stories of those who are embracing their inner alignment. If you're tired of the cookie-cutter approach to success and you crave a life that resonates with your true self, you are in the right place. Join me each week as we uncover powerful insights from those who have had the courage to lean into their purpose, live authentically, and create a life they were made for. This isn't just a conversation. It's a movement. This is a revolution of authentic leadership, where we don't just talk about change, we live it. And you can too. Hello, and welcome back to Leadership on Purpose. I'm really excited to introduce my next guest for you today. And I don't know how I keep ending up with the most incredible people that I get to have these conversations with. And it's, again, my hope that you will listen to this conversation and take away something that you didn't think about before. Maybe it changes your perspective, and maybe it encourages you to do something in your life you've been wanting to do, but either haven't had the clarity around it, haven't had the understanding why you feel that pull. So that's really why I'm having these conversations with these people, because I think there's a lot of an educational component to that serves the rest of humanity. And so that's what we're here to do, is just serve the rest of humanity. So you are going to meet Adriana Sorge, and she's an incredible person. She actually has a degree in spiritual psychology, which I think a lot of people are like, what is that? We're going to find out exactly what that is. And now she's in the coaching world doing all things transformation-based, relationships, etc. So and she actually has a great story, because she was in a place where living, at home with her child and in her family, and had this time in her life where it just didn't resonate with her anymore, and had to make some really big changes, and that catapulted her onto this journey and this transformative life that she's living now. And so that's what we're going to talk about, and I'm really excited for you guys to meet her. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So talk to me about a educational platform of spiritual psychology. What does that mean?
Yeah. Everybody asks me that question when I tell them that I have a master's degree in spiritual psychology. So spiritual psychology is the study of human evolution in consciousness. So it encompasses both traditional psychology and the spiritual principles that are designed to help you connect with the truth of who you truly are, with your true essence. And spiritual psychology is really a reminder that we're all here having a human experience, that we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah. And what made you decide to get your master's in that?
So that's where my whole story of transformation begins, right? I was led to go to that school because I was going through the most horrible divorce. I went through a divorce for 3 years back in 2006. My kids were only 2 and 3 years old. Yeah. And we went to court, and my life completely shattered. I just didn't know who I was. I didn't know what was coming next for me in my life. And I identify as a mom. I didn't know what else I was going to do with my life. I had no idea where I was going. And somebody that from my kickboxing class that was always so happy and positive, and I really looked up to this person, this woman, and I asked her, why are you always so happy? Like, why do you always have this radiance and this energy? Like life is just always good to you. And she said to me, you know what? I want to invite you to come to this school. There is an intro evening in the next couple of days or week. I can't remember what that was. But I said, okay, let me go check it out. And I went to the intro evening. And when I walked into that room,
so the intro evening to the school you ended up enrolling in?
The school that I ended up enrolling in. Okay. So I went to the intro evening. And when the teachers started speaking and sharing with us about the whole program, which is a 2-year program, it's very serious. It's a big commitment. I just felt like, okay, I think I'm meant to be here. this is it. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it because I was going through my divorce and it was a pretty expensive course. But I said, okay, I need to do this. I just felt the call to say yes to that. And I ended up just giving them my credit card. I paid for the 2-year program. And it was huge because I had little kids. And I thought, I'm just going to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'll figure out who I'm going to leave them with, how I'm going to, pay for my credit card. And that's it. And so I went through the program, and that's where everything began.
That is amazing. And what I love about that is what you just talked about showcases the power of decision. I just went through this with, there's a mastermind that I joined a little while ago, and, it was expensive. And when I was listening to, I was sitting through this 3-day intensive, and I'm listening to them speak, and I felt this calling so strong that I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. But I'm like, well, how does this work? Like, I don't know how I'm going to, how do we navigate all of the logistics around this? But, I just decided in that moment, I'm going to make this, it's the decision I make, and I'm going to let the rest of that kind of fall into place. And I do think that there's the universe hears that, and, it's like you're being guided, and it's like, nope, I got you. You got to follow what the flow is for you and how your soul is calling you. So you joined, you take that class, or you take the 2-year course, and now what does your life look like after that?
So, well, I went through so many different changes, right? I went through this divorce that led me to court, right? I was in court for quite a bit, almost once a month. I would have to show up in court because all of a sudden I felt like my kids were being taken away from me, and my ex-husband was a very powerful man, and he couldn't accept the fact that I wanted to leave him, right? And God bless him. We're best friends now.
Oh, is that right?
We're talking about 20 years ago now this happened. And I've told my story so many times, and he knows that I tell the story about how much of a jerk he was.
Yeah.
But he was mad. He was really angry that I chose to leave him.
Is he still a jerk today?
Is he what?
Is he still a jerk today, or is he?
No, he's a wonderful person. And I love him, and we're very, very good friends now.
Incredible. What a testament.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And in fact, this is, that I'm going to Bali in January. He gave me that trip. He gifted me that for my birthday.
Oh, he did.
Which is, he's like, I'm gonna get you that for your birthday. And he's in a relationship, I'm in a relationship, but he just wanted to give me that for my 50th birthday.
Because you're the mother of his children,
right.
And that's a bond that is incredible, amazing.
But it's hard to believe that we can be friendly now because we went through a horrible, horrible divorce.
Because people don't think that people can change, right?
Right.
It's like you're this way, and you're like, there's no way. But we're all evolving as souls in this human experience, right? And
absolutely.
You have to let people go through what they're going to go through so that they can be who they're supposed to be. Yeah. And giving people that grace and that space, and not placing the judgment of permanency on that, I think is really important.
Yeah. And what's most important is that the work begins with us, right?
Yeah.
Like for us to wait for them to change in order for things to be different.
Right.
Right? It's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
It might not, right? We don't know that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have the freedom to be myself and to forgive everything that I went through with him, because that was my freedom. That was me claiming back, my peace. And if I didn't forgive him, that was going to be on me.
Yeah.
I was going to live the rest of my life with this pain in my heart.
Yeah.
And that was not going to help me. It was not going to serve my children. It was not going to serve my journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's a beautiful story. So you come through this program, and you're completely on a different track now, right? You're now on this spiritual transformation track, which is very different, and I think hard for people who are not on it or don't understand it. Once you get on it and you get ignited, you kind of can't go back. You look at life so differently. I have found that through my own transformation. I have such a different lens of how I perceive things through. And I think about myself, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and we're just so different people. We're different people. We're complete. I don't recognize that girl at all, And I think her life might have been a little bit easier, than mine now. But I wouldn't trade it for the understandings and the appreciation I have for the life I've been given. So tell me about what it looks like for you now, and what are you focused on now, and what's your, we're here to help the human collective. So what is that in your
Well, the
world?
beautiful thing that came out from that experience of my divorce is that it was really the catalyst for me to find myself, to really reconnect with the truth of who I am, which, is something that, I didn't know before. I was completely lost in that marriage. I thought that I was just there to be the mother of my kids and to serve him, right? And I forgot about me. I kind of abandoned myself. And as I go through this divorce, basically the end of that marriage was because I started to wake up to myself.
Yep.
And I was going to therapy and I was doing some inner work and he wasn't. And then I realized, I don't think that this is what I want the rest of my life. And I don't think that this is what I want my children to experience, that this is what love looks like.
Right.
Because we're not really connected. And I want to be with someone that's really interested in me, knowing who I am, in knowing what my dreams are, in knowing what my soul is calling me into.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was ready to embrace all of me at the time, but I became ready to embrace myself, and I had to make a decision. It was either my marriage, the way that it was, without, any big changes, but just without rocking the boat, or it was me choosing myself and choosing what, life had in store for me.
Which
beyond
is
the
such a
marriage.
scary thing, when you're standing at the brink of that path, right? You're going to go this way or this way. You're going to leave your marriage or you're going to stay. And, I remember being in that position, and it's like, it's almost, when you get to the place where you're like, I've got to go, it's like the pull's so strong, despite how I loved my partner. It wasn't about that, it was about me, right?
Yeah.
But the damage, that you think you're going to cause, like, the children and upsetting the life, and then the friend groups and, all of the social norms that get broken down. It's a scary, scary place for people.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of people stay because they're too scared of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, if you're getting that nudge that you're meant to do something different, and I get that question a lot. Like, how do you know it's not just you being, I just want something for like a temporary fix, or this is something calling to change my life?
Yeah.
Like, how would you answer that question?
I think I really wanted to experience what true love felt like. And I didn't think that I was experiencing that with him. And it really began with me learning to love myself and to embrace all of me, which, there was so many aspects of me that I was sort of denying and not accepting. And when I began to do that and to really love myself unconditionally, that's when I really knew that that marriage had served a purpose, that we had come to a place where we were not serving each other's soul's evolution, right? And not, I knew that I was holding my soul back. And if I know that I'm holding my soul back, then I'm holding his soul back, even if he didn't understand it in those terms at the time, right? He might not even understand it today, right? And that's okay. But for me, it was very important that I continue to follow the way that I felt in the inside. And my, everything was pointing my way out of that marriage.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was very, very confident in that decision. And I knew that I didn't feel guilty about my kids. Until later, when he started taking the kids for a week, and I felt like my kids were babies. My son was only 2 years old. Aww. And it was like all of a sudden I go from like a stay-at-home mom that was with her kids 24/7 to not seeing them or hearing from them 5 days in a row, every other week, to a point where my son one day asked me, "Mommy, how come you don't want to see us anymore?" Oh. And that broke my heart. And that was the day that I decided to go back to court and get more custody, because I knew that the kids needed to have more time with me.
Yeah.
And he was just busy leaving them with the babysitter. And I felt, why do they need to be with the babysitter when they can be with me? And I have the time and I'm here for them. And I'm a devoted mother. And so I went back to court. And this is part of that question. Because the day that I showed up to that final court hearing, which was about custody, we had so many different hearings, about money, about the business, everything. But this was the most important for me. It was about the custody. And my attorney said to me, "You're not going to get your kids back. It's not going to happen. He's a good father. He doesn't have any addictions. He's normal. Like the judge is not going to give you more custody. But I had this inner guidance that kept telling me the opposite. I just kept hearing, keep going, keep going, keep going. This is what's best for the kids. So I go to this final thing in court, and I could feel that my attorney wasn't really doing much for me because he was, set in the fact that I was not going to get more custody. Right. So I felt something inside me that said, stand up right now.
Oh, ooh,
and
I love this.
This is inside the courtroom where he's like sitting on the other side across from me with his attorney, who was incredibly, I cannot even tell you. She really wanted to destroy me and to take everything from me. And in the back, there were people, just listening and watching. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, it just became about me and the judge. I disconnected from everything else, and I just focused my attention in my heart and speaking my truth from the heart to the judge. So I stood up and I said, may I have a word, Your Honor? And he looked into my eyes and said, yeah. He acknowledged me and he said, oh, sure. And so I started to talk, and I said, here's the thing, I don't want to take my kids away from him. They deserve to have time with their father, but my kids they're suffering. My son wants to, he doesn't understand why he doesn't see me as much anymore. And I told him what he said to me. And I spoke from my heart in a way that I've never done before. I was truly connected to my inner guidance and to my truth. And in that moment, I could feel that the judge heard me. Mm. And I believe that when we speak from the heart, the truth, we land in the heart of someone else. That truth lands in the heart of someone else. Yeah. And he heard me in that moment. I could feel it. So then he said, okay, we're going to take a little break. And when you guys come back, I'm going to give my final decision. So we go out in the hallway, and my attorney is upset with me.
Of course.
He's like, I can't believe you just did that. I told you not to stand up, not to do anything. I am the one that is in charge. I'm doing everything. You just blew it for yourself.
My gosh.
And I said to my attorney, don't talk to me right now.
Yeah.
I'm focused.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I don't need to hear that.
Right.
I knew it.
You.
I knew it. I was going to get more custody. I already knew. I already had that inner knowing. So we go back inside, and the judge says, I'm going to give more custody to the mother. Mm. My legs were shaking. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. This was the power of speaking from your heart, of being fully connected to your truth and like really owning it. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, I'm going to give 65% to the mother. And starting today, because they were with him, after school, you're dropping the kids off to her.
Amazing.
And I was just shaking. And so I walk out of the courtroom, and I said to my attorney, thank you, I got to go. Get in my car. And I just sat in my car, and I was crying. Just crying.
I'm ready to cry right now.
Thank you, God.
Such a beautiful
I was
story.
just so grateful for that moment. That was the moment when I realized that I had a big purpose here, and that I was a powerful being, and that I was capable of doing anything I wanted with my life.
Yeah.
That was the moment that I knew that I could fight, that I could stand up for my truth, and that I could make impact in my life.
So oh my God, you really did make me cry, because I can't imagine my child ever saying that to me, and how devastating and how heartbreaking that is. And to get to the place where there's so many people suffering right now, right? That are like, I can't do this. I don't want to lose my kids. And they're relying on external validation. And so what you're talking about is aligning yourself internally and listening to your inner guidance and following that and saying, there's a force greater than me. There's a power greater than me. And, when you tap into that and you understand what that is, it will always take you to where you need to go.
100%.
It will always protect you.
Absolutely.
If you're someone listening to the story that's like, okay, that's amazing, and now she's doing all these things, and she's got this master's and this beautiful program, and, now she's a big coach, and great. Well, how does that help the everyday person? How does that? How do we help the everyday person who's like, I've never heard anything inside me before. I don't know how to get in touch with my, who I am authentically. I don't know how to listen to myself. How do you help them?
Yeah. breathe, connect with your body, and just notice your body's always giving you feedback. And the feedback shows up through how you feel, right? I'm a relationship coach, and one of the things that women want to hear the most is this right for me? This person, is he right for me or is he not? How do you feel when you're in his presence? How does your body feel? Does it feel excited? Does it feel open? Or does it feel closed off? Do you feel like you can be yourself and really express who you are? Or do you feel like you are contracting in the inside when you are in their presence? So really trusting, finding that trust inside. Because trust, where does it live? It lives inside ourselves. It doesn't live out there, right? And we're always like looking outside of ourselves. So it's like go within and begin to become curious about you. Who am I today? Who am I? What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that presence, like cultivating the presence of the moment. You know, it gets so cliche, like live in the present, it's the most important thing if you actually understand it, that you can actually ever do. There are times I'll be driving and I'll find myself getting caught up in my thoughts, which, you know, the cybernetic loop or the cybernetic loop. Your thoughts, your beliefs create your thoughts, create your feelings, create your actions, and your actions really are just more, they're congruent with the belief that you have, right? So, you know, when I get to that place where I'm finding that my thoughts are changing my mood and my energy. So I'm like, wait, I'm associating a belief to a thought that doesn't serve me, and it's changing how I feel. Like that's how crazy I am right now. Like I'm so in tune with how I'm thinking.
I love that.
Because if I get into a place that I don't feel good or I don't feel, I really dig deep to go, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What's the thought pattern and what's the belief system that I need to unpack to make sure that I can change the way I feel right now?
Totally.
And the best way to do that is like, sometimes I just do this in the car. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm going to stay present in this moment. I'm going to stay, because right now in this moment, I can control everything I think, you know, and the way that I feel and how I'm listening to my own inner guidance and where it's telling me to go. And I just love your story. It's so beautiful. Like it's so incredible because it shows that no matter who you are, no matter where you are in your life, everyone has that superpower, and it's a superpower. And it's like, we're now getting to this place where we're waking up to it, where people are now understanding, I'm not a victim to this life. I am a co-creator.
100%. I love that.
Yeah, when you can step into that with a full understanding that life is happening for you and through you, not to you.
Yes.
You know, that's when you get, like, that's when you're unstoppable. And you're like, no, nothing, you know, like, I don't care what, you know, everybody's a reflection, right? Everybody's a mirror. It's like you can pick up pieces of what's going on in your internal world by the conversations you have and the people that are showing that to you externally. It's really a fascinating experiment of humankind right now, if you think about
fascinating. It's fascinating.
It is. Yeah. But, you know, you're in the driver's seat of your own movie, and that's the best thing ever. So that's just, it's a great story. I'm so glad you stood up in court for that little boy.
I'm so glad.
And how old is he now?
He's 21.
He's 21, that little 2-year-old face.
Yeah, he's 21 and my daughter is 22.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm so glad that I did, that I stood up, because it was a really beautiful journey, you know, raising my kids and being able to just have that time, the time that I really had to spend with them as I was becoming, you know, the woman that I am today. And they got to experience and witness my transformation.
Yes.
Which is, you know, my 22-year-old daughter today tells me, Mom, you're so different. You're so different than you were when I was 10 years old, when I was a teenager.
Think of the education platform that was for them, right?
Yeah.
Like that, what you showed them was more than they could ever learn in school.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful. Tell me about your book. Your breakdown is your breakthrough. I think how were you the first person to get the name of the title of a book like that?
Right?
Because there's so many books out there, and I know I'm in the process of choosing the title for my book. It was really hard because they're all taken. I'm like, this is awesome.
You know, and I gotta give this credit, a little bit of credit, not all of it, to the person in the back that wrote my Gil Younger.
Yeah.
He's one of my longtime clients.
He's the director of 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes, yeah.
How funny.
So he actually, we were having a session back in, 3 years ago, before I wrote the book. And I said to him, he was going through a breakup. And I said to him, well, I want you to consider the possibility that your breakdown can be your greatest breakthrough. And he's like, that's the title of your book. And I was like,
Oh, that's so good.
and I was like, okay,
like,
okay, I'll write it down.
And that's where that title came from.
That's where it came from. I
love it.
So, but it's true, right? It's like our greatest breakdowns can become our greatest breakthroughs.
100%. And that's usually the case.
And that's usually the case. And we don't have to wait for a breakdown.
No.
To have a breakthrough.
Well, that's my whole thing is like, let me get to you before it gets to you.
Right.
Right? Like, let me wake you up to the reality of like what life is really all about before your soul goes, wait, I'm going to mess up your life. So you listen to me.
Right.
So
So we don't have to get to that point.
No,
right?
we don't.
All we need is to have the willingness.
Yeah.
Willingness to become who we really want to become.
So give me a little synopsis of what the book's about.
So interestingly enough, I don't really talk about my divorce in that book, but I had so many other breakdowns in my life that growing up in Colombia and growing up in a very dysfunctional family and bulimia for so many years, eating disorder for over 10 years until I got pregnant with my first child. And then I guess the biggest one was my divorce. And that's where I drew the line. It's like, that's it. What am I doing here? What am I doing that I keep creating this in my life? That's when I took responsibility. I began to take responsibility for my own life, and to stop being at the mercy of my circumstances.
Yeah.
Right? Just, okay, how can I create something different starting today?
Yeah. Yeah, you're not a victim to your circumstances.
Right.
So is this a little bit of a how-to for people?
So this is a teaching memoir. And so each chapter is an experience that I had, a breakdown experience that I had in my life and how I got to the other side. So I give exercises, right? Or like if you're somebody that has an eating disorder, this would be a great book for you, right? Or somebody that grew up in a very abusive parents, that didn't believe in you, that you didn't, in an environment where you didn't get your needs met, but the people that were supposed to meet those needs, then this could be a really great book for you. If you're a woman that has gone through a horrible divorce, that too. So each chapter tells a story of, something that I went through and how I got to the other side and how, all the lessons that I got from that breakdown and how I began to recollect myself and to put myself back together to be whole again. It's what we truly are. We're whole. We were born perfect.
Yep.
We're born beautiful. We're born worthy, right? And somewhere along the way, we start to believe that we're not. So
it's a book of healing.
It's a book of healing. That's right.
I love it. And where can people find it?
On Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Your breakdown is your breakthrough. I love that. Look for that on Amazon. And I'll put this in the show notes too for everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So if you were to, I ask all my guests this, if you were to talk to yourself like 6 months ago, because I think evolution happens pretty quickly, what's something you would tell yourself, your 6-month younger self?
I would tell myself, trust the process of life. Don't be so hard on yourself. Enjoy every moment. Be present.
Yeah.
Be present with the little things, not just the big ones, but the small ones.
Yeah.
And celebrate every victory. Doesn't matter how small or big it is, but celebrate it and acknowledge yourself for where you are now. Because every single day, we're different.
Yeah.
We're on that path. We're ever evolving.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and I think that too, when you place that energy of that forward momentum, it's like it comes back to you. You just got to keep pushing forward, even then, and to be easy on yourself too, right? When things aren't going, like you have a bad day, things aren't going well. It's like, to give yourself that
compassion.
Grace. Yes, so important.
So important.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this conversation. Thank you so much. I think this is going to be so transformative to so many people, and your story is beautiful, and I know you're going to change a lot of people. So you're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Oh, you guys, I hope you got a lot out of this. If you are in a place where you need further assistance, there's links below on my show notes that will point you to a variety of different resources for you. And if you're trying to figure out where you are in your own mindset, you can text 55444. text SHIFT to 55444, and I'm going to send you a free little assessment, and you'll be able to do your own little checklist and see kind of where you land in the mindset category. And hopefully we can get you to a place where you're transforming your life and helping other people. So thanks so much for being with us, and we'll see you soon.
Leadership on Purpose, a featured presentation, airs every Monday on the Earth Angel Media Network. This episode of Leadership on Purpose is sponsored and produced by Live Pure. Optimize your life by taking your health to the next level. Listen now to learn how Live Pure will make your world better.
Live Pure is an American-based distribution system of online portals that give discounted access to clean, potent, natural, and ethically sourced healthy solutions for fat loss, muscle gain, immaculate skin care, immune system support, whole body cleanse, physiological balance, and performance support for athletes of all ages. Live Pure handpicks the best products and nutrients from world-class companies, always adding to their quickly growing wellness lineup that now includes Korean skincare, medical-grade nutraceuticals listed as pharmaceutical alternatives in the physician's desk reference, and healthy coffee that rivals the world's best, but for only about $1 per cup. Leadership on Purpose listeners looking for vitality, youth, beauty, and better health can get 25% off retail by visiting livepure.com/leadership and signing up for free as a preferred customer. If you are a content creator, influencer, or home-based entrepreneur looking for worldwide cash flows from the emerging gig economy, Live Pure's state-of-the-industry brand partner affiliate program can bring you up to 7 different payment vectors as bonuses. As a content creator aligned with Live Pure and Earth Angel Media, you will enjoy massive co-marketing benefits, including a cutting-edge website that is personally branded to you or to your business. Sign up as a brand partner affiliate at livepure.com/leadership, or drop us a note at connect@earthangelproject.com to get more information.